Hello and welcome back to Do the Work podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that I'm hearing a lot about on social media and through family and friends, and it's the expectations of getting results straight away and everything happening now. So we're going to be talking to Dale, and we're going to be asking him a few questions. So when you were cutting for your photo shoot, and I think, did it take about six months? Was that right?
Yeah, well, it's the 5-year anniversary this year. So it's 5 years since I've been as lean as that, and I'll never be that lean again, to be fair.
Right.
But yeah, the process started in December and the photo shoot was in April. So it was about 4 or 5 months, something like that. I think maybe it was about 16 weeks actually. Something like that.
So what does it take? So for example, obviously like a photo shoot is not what everybody is kind of aiming towards. But for you, for example, like what does it take to get into that condition for a photo shoot like that?
Well, it takes everything. So it's too much for, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but like it's too much for the average person, especially someone who doesn't really like coming to the gym. So I think often people look at them physiques and they're like, that's what I want. Whereas I'll tell you now, like I don't actually want that physique again because it takes too much away from you. I did it whilst COVID was around. So it was December 2020 when I started and April 2021. So the gyms were closed for quite a lot of it as well. But that also meant like pubs and restaurants and stuff like that weren't like massively available. That helped me a lot. But what it took me to eat pretty much the same thing every day for like 4 months. The calories started a little higher, then they started reducing and going down. If I'm honest, I found the beginning of it quite easy. And then as I got leaner, it got a lot harder. I got a lot more ratty, more irritable. I was more irritable and short with clients as well, which really wasn't good or ideal. But, you know, you're in the mindset where you're like, I'm doing this. Why are you not doing this? So psychologically, it was challenging as well. So, yeah, it takes everything really. And, yeah, you have the photos and I'm glad I did it, but I would never do it again.
So was it worth it
It was worth it, and I'm glad I did it. But as I say, I wouldn't do it again because now I'm not in a place or a position where I kind of want to sacrifice all the things that I had to sacrifice to get there. Eating the same thing every day with, no room for error. Like you can't not do that. And at no point did I think there was one day maybe actually where I got a KFC on a Friday. I've been to the Trafford Centre and I was starving. And I didn't want to wait to get home to have my steak and sweet potato or something. So I went through the drive-through and smashed the KFC. But other than that, I stuck to it all day, every day. And yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been even harder had it not been in COVID.
Yeah,
and it was hard enough anyway.
Restaurants and stuff. But I think like I was saying, we want the results, don't we, straight away, and we want them now. Do you think that's what maybe puts a lot of people off joining a gym, is because they think it might take too much hard work or it might take too long?
Yeah, I think people underestimate the work that's needed. Just even to shift a couple of stone, like if we move away from like wanting to have a photo shoot body, just got a couple of stone to lose, want to be a bit fitter, feel a bit better, of what have you. I think people massively underestimate what is required in terms of change of lifestyle to achieve that. And it doesn't require what I had to do, but it probably does require a big change from what you're doing now. And also it's going to take longer than what you want as well. I don't know what you experienced, but people come to me and they want to lose like a kilo a week, or do you know what I mean? They want to lose like half a stone a month or something like that. And, they often relate like what happens in the first week to how much they want to lose like every week.
Every week.
And you and I both know that that's not possible, unfortunately. No. And so like to relate it to like I had quite a lot of the girls that did photo shoots after me, none of which were my idea, all were theirs. But I looked into the data of that and, it proved my theory around like people lose weight much slower than what most people want to or think that they do. And even those girls that were training 5-6 days a week, eating pretty much the same thing every day for an extended period of time, lost an average of 1 pound a week.
Yeah.
And I think, to answer your question, that does put a lot of people off. And obviously topical to what I've talked about recently with regards to people know people on GLP-1s and stuff like that, and they might be losing at a faster rate. They're in a much deeper deficit, but they're not necessarily experiencing the challenges of the food noise and the cravings around that. So it's easier to do. It isn't necessarily healthier to lose at that rate. But I think, yeah, people hear like all that effort for £1 a week, maybe it's not worth it. And I think, yeah, to your point, perhaps that's what stops them from even bothering anyways, because it's like, is it worth it? But I also think people massively underestimate how much it is to lose £1 or £4 a month or £5 a month or what have you. I think you put a picture on your Instagram story yesterday or the day before. I'm guessing it was like an AI thing, but I've got the model in here somewhere of like what a pound of fat looks like.
Yeah.
And it's quite surprising when you look at it, how much that is. And when you feel the weight of what a pound is,
Yeah.
you appreciate it more. But, if you're 15 stone and you want to see a pound coming off the scales, it's quite hard to accept that you got to do that another 13 times to be down a stone, and it might take that length of time. But it takes as long as it takes. And let's say like you didn't put the weight on overnight.
Yeah.
So you're not going to lose it overnight.
Yeah.
Obviously you've been through an experience like that where you've lost is it like 70 pounds or something overall or whatever?
57 apparently.
57, right.
Yeah, apparently, but
Yeah,
feels like more.
Yeah, I think based on the numbers that you told me, it sounds like it was more.
Yeah,
But
I know.
anyways,
Yeah.
it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you lost in some weeks more than £1 or what have you. And obviously when you're a little heavier, no offense at the beginning, you probably are going to lose at a slightly faster rate. But how did you find that? Like, because did you think you wanted to go faster? How did you keep going? Maybe did you have those thoughts? Or?
It's all about the like we spoke before, mentality about like if you give up, then what happens? You're just back to square one again. And that's something I try to revisit with my clients. Like I've got a couple of clients who started in January who for the first 4 weeks lost no scale weight. But when we've done their measurements and their pictures, you can see a massive difference. So it's all about mentality. And that's why we kind of do pictures and measurements and stuff as well. Because if we used to rely on how much we weigh in gravity on the scales, it would really mess with our heads. So for me, it was just a mental game. And that's what kind of the gym gave me a little bit of a kind of something else to focus on and a distraction away from relying on the scales, because it's nothing. It means nothing. I push it to the side and just check in with it every now and again. But because there's so many other ways to like focus on your progress.
Yeah, they are,
they're a tool, but like they're not the be all and end all.
Over the span of time, they are going to go down if you lose body fat.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be fluctuations and stuff like that. Like, everyone who's done the photo shoot, me included, lost a substantial amount of weight. But as I say, that average is £1. Some weeks it didn't budge. Some weeks it was more. Some weeks it was £1, And there's so many variables at play. Like,
being a woman is a variable with your
100%.
hormones and your cycle. And like honestly, I can stand on the scale if, one day, 2 days after my period, and I'm down to like a kilogram. So it'll just ebb and flow as a woman with hormones, breastfeeding, everything. So there are many variables at play, aren't there? So yeah,
and that's why obviously multiple variables of way in which you track progress are important, like measurements and stuff as well. Photos very sort of infrequently. But yeah, I think we're in a society now where everyone does want something now. They want that immediate kind of like dopamine fix of like, okay, I'm making progress or whatever. But I think sometimes just looking in the wrong places, like there's other places to look in the short term for progress that aren't just the scales. Like you said, in terms of getting stronger, coming back to the gym every week and all of those things. I think you've got to sort of try and find a way, for people listening, try and find a way of finding joy in those things in the short term. because if you're only ever looking at the scale, it's going to get boring fast.
Yep.
It's going to go up and down. It's not necessarily always going to go the way in which you want it to go, but it doesn't mean that you're not making progress. And like you said, if you stop, you're definitely not going to make progress, and you're probably going to go backwards, which is exactly why you started doing this stuff in the first place.
And I think that something that really helped me was when I had a bit of a mind shift and I reframed it in my head as, this is my life now. This is my lifestyle. This is not like I want to get fit for summer. This is what I do forever. And some days I might go to the gym twice because I've got the kids or work, but this is my life. And I don't have to be perfect every single time. I don't have to get it right. But as long as I know in my head, like, I'm going to be strong and I'm going to be fit and healthy forever, I don't put pressure on myself to be a certain way. It's like, it's incredible what it can do for your mindset, that just that thought of, this is it forever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people see exercise, specifically gym stuff, as a means to an end.
Yeah.
So I go to the gym, I do cardio or whatever to lose weight, and that's it. You've obviously found the other side of that and all the other benefits that you get from it, and weight management and all that is probably a side benefit to what you do.
Absolutely, yeah. I use it as a tool, my weight, to build muscle now. I don't even see it as like a societal thing. I think, right, I need to build muscle, I need to put a bit of weight on, and then I can cut it off. So it's now it's just about physique building, as opposed to putting on body fat. It's like, oh, I need to put on some extra body fat. How do I do this properly? So it's a whole mindset shift away from, being overweight or not looking at it. It's a actual strategic decision now to
Yeah,
8 months I put weight on.
You've got yourself to that point now. I think that's the challenge for people, isn't it? It's getting from there to there. But like you said, you need to see it as something that's there. We don't just exercise in bouts of wanting to lose a little bit of weight. Like, we exercise, look after ourselves, eat healthier generally, because we're choosing to do that because we want to be a healthier and happier and fitter person and what have you.
Yeah.
Like, the turn of the year, I was probably like world record, groundbreaking, heaviest weight I've been after Christmas. I took my eye off the ball a little bit since July, went on a short stag do trip, so got a little bit leaner for that. And then come December, I was, I think, heavier than I've ever been. I'm a couple of kilos down in, what are we now, 6-7 weeks into the year. It's not groundbreaking, 4 or 5 pounds. It's probably not far off the numbers I was talking to you before in terms of like a pound a week. I think it's just under that. There's some weeks where I just haven't been perfect. Trying to stick to 2,000 calories. Yesterday it was like 2,250. There's days where it's a little bit over. There's days where weeks where I train 4 times, weeks where I train 3. Days where I do 14,000 steps, days where I do 10,001, but it's just accepting that I'm moving in the right direction. When I see the scales, I weigh myself weekly at the minute. I've done every which way to do it, not weighed myself, just looked in the mirror, weighed myself weekly, weighed myself monthly, weighed myself daily. The minute I'm doing weekly, sometimes I step on and it's not budged. And I have the same thoughts that the people listening to this will probably have, like, fuck it, might as well get takeaway tonight. It's not working, don't work, no point going to the gym. And I sort of have them thoughts, but it's just about accepting that they're there and then cracking back on with what you should be doing. Because you want to exercise, because you want to be healthier, happier anyways. It's not just about the weight. And also accepting that the weight will probably drop back down next week. It's just, we can't predict it. But if we don't make the behavior predictable or consistent, then we're definitely not going to get anywhere. Yeah. And I think it's just letting people know that, unfortunately, nothing worth having comes easy. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, and I know people want results now, but you're much better doing it slower or, at a good pace, so that afterwards or after you get to the goal or whatever it might be, those habits and those behaviors are there so that you keep it off. Like, the people now are saying that people are regaining the weight after the GLP-1s 4 or 5 times faster than conventional diets. And people used to say diets don't work. So if we're going off that, methodology, then these don't work 4 or 5 times more than diets don't work, right? So people need to make sure that they are building the habits that are there to stay.
Yeah.
And if that means seeing the other benefits, like you said, in terms of strength or enjoying it or whatever as well, they're much more likely to keep it off. But we have to drop this mentality that we want the results tomorrow because, I'd like to be a millionaire tomorrow, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. But people will often, I've seen another coach actually online and people won't say, what did it take for you to get there? They'll say, what steroid are you using? Or what drug are you using? And it's true, isn't it? Because people don't want to accept that. I guess it takes hard work, commitment, and even longer time than you think. When you see that person in the gym that looks, I don't know, I want to say toned because that's the word that's used, isn't it? Or fit, and you think, wow, like how did it didn't take 6 months or a year. It probably took years and years. I look at some people and I think, wow, they look amazing, but it would have taken absolute years to get there. Not overnight fix, not even 6 months, but it's definitely worth it long term.
Yeah, I've got, the reason I got into weight training really, and I've shared this before, I was always in my mind like the smaller, skinnier guy. So I wanted to put a little bit of muscle on, and I've got a small frame, and that's, genetic through parents and grandparents and whatever. So it's not super easy for me to gain weight. So that's a positive. Like, oh, you're so lucky you don't gain weight fast. And it's like, well, every ounce of muscle I've got, which isn't loads, but, for me, it's more than a lot more than what I had. I've had to fight for it. And I've been training since I was 15, 16, relatively consistently and frequently. And that's just how it is, but I don't know. It's just kind of like expectations of how it should be or whatever. I think we just need to accept that things take a long time and it's hard work. And like, to go back full circle, the photo shoot was incredibly hard work for me. But I also had, not many, but a few people like, all right, yeah, were you on steroids then? It's like, no, I wasn't. You could believe me or you don't believe me. I haven't and never have done that. It's never interested me. But having worked in gyms a lot, there's a lot of people on the gym floor I know that have done that, right? But also what's happening now is people are losing, I don't know if you've experienced this, but people tell me that people are experiencing being in the office or someone losing weight, and people just now automatically assume that they're on the jab. Now, a lot of people are, and a lot of people are that aren't talking about it, but anyone who's losing weight at the minute is on the end of an assumption of someone else that that's what they're doing. Because we're in that quick fix society, aren't we? So that's what everybody wants. Is that something you've come across? Or?
So yeah, I have heard of people taking jab to lose weight. I've not come across it personally, kind of through family and friends, but through the grapevine, I've heard of people kind of in the fitness arena taking it to lose weight. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that. I don't go into commercial gyms and stuff like that, so I don't necessarily have that kind of like exposure to what other PTs are doing and stuff like that. But I mean, I would my thoughts on that are probably be transparent. Like that what you're doing potentially there by kind of doing that, and then if you're sharing your journey but not sharing that that's what you're doing, it's certainly misleading at worst, or at best even, and worse than that potentially at its worst. So, yeah, I don't know that that's what people are doing. I definitely know that there's people that will lie about steroids, and I've not seen it in action in the sense of that I've seen them like injecting themselves and stuff like that, but it definitely goes on and people don't talk about it, and it gives a false narrative that, men can look like that way without doing those things, and more often than not they can't. But I think with how challenging the weight loss space is already, especially for women, I think it's so confusing for women with all the, you must take this supplement and all the bullshit basically that women are told. There's so much, I think, bullshit in the space that women are told in terms of like
shake diets or
Yeah,
pink
just-
packet products.
yeah, that are sold to women specifically, like it's completely different for them. And granted, there are different challenges in terms of menstrual cycle and kids and all of that
Yeah.
stuff, but the fundamentals are still the same. But women are sold these things. So I think as PTs or fitness professionals or whatever, we have like a, you know, kind of like a moral code to be open and honest about this stuff. So yeah, as I say, I don't know of that, but if someone is doing that and then making out they're making loads of progress, then
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's great personally, but I guess we shouldn't.
Morally, we should be honest and open about
Yeah.
what we are doing. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So to tie this off now, you know, we started with talking about my photo shoot and people's expectations, I suppose, of how quickly and how hard
Yeah.
things are to get. And again, to reaffirm the point, like, yeah, I'm glad I did it, but I won't do it again. And though that level of commitment that is needed is definitely above what's needed for a lady in her 40s to come in and lose some weight. However, I do think people underestimate how much is needed to do that in terms of like how much of a lifestyle change that is necessary, especially when you've got people that maybe are, you know, drinking 3-4 days a week, having takeaways 1-2 days a week, not doing any exercise, and maybe doing, I'm not exaggerating here, 1,000 or 1,500 steps per day. I don't know what your experience of it, but I have people that come in that have desk jobs that genuinely are doing, you know, 10,000 steps a week or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a very managed conversation with them to get them to understand that they need to do a lot more than that. But as we said, you know, on a previous episode, like starting small is really important. But yeah, I just think there's a huge underestimation of what is needed to get the results that people say they want, you know?
But they will get the results if they put the work in and they do it consistently over time. My clients are living example of what you can achieve. You can achieve the results and the goals you set out to, but you have to implement those daily habits and stack them and do them long term, and you will get there.
100%.